Hi everybody, I'm Christine Schiavone and our show is Spiritual Exploration. Tonight we're going to talk about angels and healing because angels are a big part of healing and they do wish for us to turn to them when we need her healing. And I'm here with Rita Gigante, who is going to talk with us about angels and healing and how they get involved in our healings. So, hello, Rita. Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. Let's start out with asking about angels. They want to hear from us.
Yes.
They want us to say to them, I need a healing, I need this, I need that, help me.
Yeah, they need that because they won't interject their own will onto ours. Because we have free will, we have to ask them to come in and help us. They're there, they're waiting, they're always ready.
And very eager.
Very eager, very eager. And they actually hold the space for us when we're in that space of not knowing what to do. They hold the space for us very lovingly so that the minute we ask, it happens.
So in other words, if we are hurting because of a physical ailment or emotional or spiritual ailment, they are there to help us, but we have to ask.
Exactly. Exactly.
So how do you personally work with the angels? How do you bring them into a healing?
Well, usually it's almost like they're there automatically. When I'm in session and someone comes in and I'm working with them, the angels are like on standby, okay? And so as I'm working on somebody, I'll be listening to what Spirit has to tell me, and the angels there are already working, okay? Depending on what angels come in, it could be guardian angels, it could be the archangels, it could be angels, because there's kind of like a hierarchy, although
Right.
no one is above another, but there's a hierarchy of angels, and so
Kind of like a pecking order or something?
Exactly, exactly. So depending on who's on my table and whose help I need, that's who's going to show up. So it could be Michael, Archangel Michael, who is the protector.
Right.
It could be Raphael, who is the healer. Gabriel, who needs to bring me a message for somebody.
Right. And then Ariel.
Ariel, right? Those are the four major
Right.
that usually come in,
Archangels.
but there's so many other.
Oh, there's probably a multitude.
Yes.
You know,
and sometimes what shows up is a legion of angels.
Wow.
And that's when somebody really needs, I'm working on a very deep emotional healing. Then I'll have like a line of them. They're like lining up, ready to work. And they'll come, usually two at a time. They'll come and they'll work on somebody and then disperse, and then two more will come until the healing is done.
I imagine that they really show up when a person is so distraught that they might even end it all or something like that.
I've experienced that. I've experienced somebody on my table who was at that point. And I find when that happens, the angels usually are surrounding the table. But I find that, because I have a strong connection to the Blessed Mother and to Jesus, I find that when that happens, those energies are the strongest that come in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
To help that person get
to help
through
that person.
whatever they're experiencing so that they can move on.
Yes.
Yeah. Tell me, have you had any healings of major diseases right then and there with the angels working with you?
Yes. I've treated people with MS, rheumatoid arthritis, cancer. Right now I'm working with somebody in stage 4, colon cancer. And it was interesting because she wasn't even supposed to come the day she came, because after she gets a treatment, she gets sick, and that day she had nothing. She had no symptoms. And that was Spirit allowing her to come so that she can get on the table.
What was
so
she
I can work
getting,
with her.
chemotherapy or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually hear that people do get sick from that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very much. Very much.
Yeah.
So it's a process, and you have to respect where the person is in their healing process. So it's more of what they're ready for actually happens.
Because there are people that don't want to be healed.
Well, on a soul level, there's a contract.
Yeah.
So that contract states this is what's going to happen. So their soul chooses at that moment. They have the opportunity. They're there. They're on the table, and Spirit is there waiting and willing to heal. And so it's up to them. I'm just the conduit. I come in and I...
Exactly. Same
you know.
thing with me with my Reiki.
Exactly.
I'm
right.
not, I don't heal. The energy heals.
Right.
When you call upon the energy to do something, the energy is what is doing the work.
Right.
You're just, as you said, the conduit.
Right.
The person or the thing that the energy runs through and into the intended person who's in need of healing.
Right. Yeah. So the angels are, I find sometimes that they're there to assist, and other times they're there to actually work, depending on what's going on the table, who's, and what their illness or ailment, and it could be emotional. It doesn't have to be,
That's
just
true.
a physical
or
thing.
spiritual, or whatever.
Or mental, right?
Or
Exactly.
mental, yes, exactly, because we all need healings. And as a matter of fact, I don't think anybody goes through life without needing healings in all four areas at one time or another.
Right.
You know, and
Right.
and just because you're feeling depressed or you think that you're having an emotional upset of some sort doesn't mean you're something wrong with you. It just means you're going through something.
And we all have it.
And we all
Even
do.
us healers.
Yeah, no,
Even
we're
us
only human
healers.
too.
That's right.
You know.
That's right.
So I mean, we experience the same things everybody else experiences.
Mm-hmm.
We experience hurt, we experience sickness, and things that just don't go well,
Right.
and we all need to be able to deal with it and get past it.
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly.
So tell me about your experiences then.
Well, the first experience I ever had with the angels was through my own crisis. I was at my mom's house, and I was walking towards my pool, and four enormous, they were over 12 feet tall, angels with their wings spread.
They are pretty big.
They're huge, around me, walking with me towards the pool, and I could feel it, but I couldn't see it. But a friend of mine who was there saw it, and it was just incredible. I can feel the love, the amount of love.
Oh, sure.
That was they were giving me, and it was such a beautiful day and night, and I fell asleep with such peace, and I woke up at 3 a.m. in a panic attack because it was the beginning of the dark night of the soul for me.
I know what you mean.
And so they were there comforting me and showing me that they were going to walk me through this, but that was a rough patch. And so from that moment on, they kind of carried me through that whole thing.
Yeah.
So that was my first experience with them. And then not until I was in massage school did I experience them again working on people, because I could feel people's energies. I could see where the blockages were, where they needed to be removed, or if energy needed to be brought in. And the angels were there helping me do that. So they would even direct me if I needed direction.
Oh, sure. And they probably put their hands over yours.
Put the hands over mine. I can feel that energy with
right,
their hands.
Right, coming from them.
And it's interesting because each one of them has a different energy.
Mm-hmm.
Each angel has a different energy, as well as like when Jesus comes in, he has a completely different energy than anybody else that, if I work with the Blessed Mother, a completely different energy.
Mm-hmm.
The Holy Spirit, completely different energy.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be accustomed to the energies. Like you get yourself accustomed to them and recognize, and then you know who you're working with as it happens.
Well, that's great.
Yeah,
that's
it's
great.
good stuff.
Well, tell me now, do you ever have the experience where somebody is, what's happening? Anyway, is you ever have the experience where somebody just actually just really says, I feel so different, I feel like I've been cured?
Yes, and we've done group healings
Yeah.
Where that has happened, where instantaneously the person gets up. We had somebody with cancer that came to one of our healings, and they went for a test the next week, and the test read negative.
Wow, there was no sign.
No sign of it in the body. And so that just proves how strong your own will is. This is about the person. It's not so much what we did. We held the energy for that person, but that person wanted to heal, and Spirit came in and said, no problem. Because, when I work with people, I see them as already healed. I don't say, I don't attach to their illness or say, you got this or you got that. You know how people claim their sickness as their own. My cancer, my this, my that.
Uh-huh.
So I try to get them in a space where they understand that it's not theirs. They're having an experience.
And they're not alone.
Right. They're having the experience, but it's not theirs. Don't own it so that we can release it.
Exactly. Once you own it,
Right.
then you hang on to it.
Exactly. So I try to teach people that every time they I work with them.
Yeah.
So it's important. It's important for them to know that they have that choice.
Yeah, yeah.
People don't realize that it's really important to know that this is about you and your choice. This isn't about, I could be the greatest healer in the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't want to be healed and you don't know you have that power to be
Exactly.
healed,
Mm-hmm.
it really doesn't matter what I'm doing.
There are people that actually revel in their illnesses.
Yes.
Because I guess maybe because they get a lot of attention and sympathy, and they want to keep it that way.
And they're learning a huge lesson from that.
Yeah.
I mean, and sickness doesn't come just like that, right? It has to come through the bodies before it gets to the physical. It comes through the causal body into the spiritual, into the mental, the emotional, and then the physical. So when it finally gets to the physical, it's already passed through all those bodies. So it's
And a
years
lot of
and
time
years.
has gone by, yeah.
Yeah, it's years and years. So now we're dealing in the physical. But sometimes I will catch something in the emotional body. I'll say, oh, there's this blockage in the emotional body. I won't know what it is. Like, I won't know if it's cancer or it's this or that, but I'll feel the block. We'll be able to remove the block so that it doesn't actually go physical. Mm-hmm. You see? Because the less you have to work on the physical level, the easier it is to get it out.
Do you think that these illnesses of all sorts exist because for people like us who heal and for the angels to get involved and all that kind of stuff? I mean, why would these things exist to begin with?
Yeah, I think that because we've chosen as a human race this disconnection, we'll say, when we came here, there was a disconnect, right? We had to find our way back to spirit, right?
Yeah.
And so there's certain ways that we do that. But I think that anything happens just for the evolution of the soul, to teach us lessons.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so
I understand that because there are things that we, in what they call the before time, have chosen to experience. When we come
right.
here.
Right.
Whether it be experience with other people, relationships, etc., or experience with sickness and illness and even the dying part.
To me, illness is created out of duality. Okay?
Yeah.
Because we don't understand that we're all one here, that the consciousness of all of us are one, and we're connected to all that is. We're connected to God, and really we're connected to love. That's the bottom line. So, when the consciousness when we raise the consciousness, cancer and things like that can't live in the body. They disappear.
So in other words, if everybody was on a higher conscious level.
Higher consciousness, that we were more dealing with that level of unconditional love, more for ourselves than anything. We have to experience unconditional love for ourselves,
That's
and then
true.
We can experience it with others. If we had that on this earth, there would be no room for illness or disease. It's created because that's what we do. We're here to create, right, as human beings. So as we created, though, we can uncreate it. We can recreate something different.
Something better.
Something better, exactly. And so I think we as healers are here to help create the higher levels of energy and peace and love, so that we don't need to experience all these other things.
Well, if that's the case, and I believe that is the case, of course, but why do you think that the world is in such turmoil? As far as, I mean, there's so much going on. There's so much discord. There's so much negativity. And that's really why so many people are experiencing what they're experiencing.
And I believe it all starts with acceptance. I think that it's really difficult for people to accept one another for who they are. We're in constant judgment of ourselves, constant judgment of others. It just promotes negative energy. Negative attracts negative, and positive attracts positive. So if you want to bring positive into your life, you think positive thoughts,
right.
You do positive things, you're willing to help others. If you want to bring negative, you do the exact opposite.
Right.
And so we're starting now to try and bring in more positive energy, more healers bringing more positive energy, more love into the universe. Children even noticing that and bringing more, love and just take bullying for,
oh, God,
as an example.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
It's, That's all negative
When I was
stuff.
in grammar school, I was bullied.
Mm-hmm.
I was little, and I was bullied, and and it wasn't a pleasant experience. And my heart goes out to, people that are, and I don't understand why anybody would want to do that. And now you have with the internet, you have cyberbullying, and that's just as bad.
And what does that ultimately create is fear in people.
Yeah.
Right? It's all about
So
this fear.
so that brings about fear, negativity, disease, all kind of stuff.
Absolutely. That all comes from that. When you have love, when you're in love, and I mean just, and I don't mean in love, yes, you could be in love with someone, but I mean in love, like with
Walking in
all
love.
that is, right? With
Yeah.
all that is, it cannot exist. Disease cannot exist in that realm.
So you feel that if everybody walked around with that attitude, that disease would be just stomped out?
Wouldn't need it no more. We wouldn't need to learn the lessons that we're learning. If we weren't judging each other, if we were forgiving each other, if we were more compassionate with each other, we wouldn't need to learn lessons like that.
More understanding, more considerate.
Right.
Yeah, because there's a lot of inconsiderate people out there that they're just wound up in themselves, and that's all they care about, and that's all they think about, and everybody else can go jump in a lake and all that, and it's not a good attitude. And if everybody was, do you remember right after 9/11 how everybody was being so kind to each other?
Yeah.
And it was a good feeling. It really was, especially when you were driving.
Yeah, I mean, that's why we get those opportunities.
Yes.
9/11 was horrific, and we will always remember that day, but what came out of that was the amount of compassion and love that people were having for each other to help.
Yeah.
And that shifted the consciousness of this earth, period. That's just how it happens, And sometimes catastrophic things happen just to shift what's happening on the earth,
and to wake some people up too.
Absolutely. And for some people it stayed with them. They were able to experience it and keep it with them. For others, they kind of went back to their to their life again. And,
I mean, I try to keep it with me, and like if I'm driving and I see an opportunity to allow somebody else to go, and especially to keep the traffic from the opposite direction going or something like that, and I'll I'll do it. And and it's a good feeling when you do something or somebody else does something and you wave to each other. You don't even know the person.
You don't even know each other.
Don't even know each other. We'll probably never see each other again.
Right.
But you're waving at each other because one of you just did a good deed.
And what people don't understand is that reverberates around the world.
Yes, it's like throwing a pebble in the water.
Exactly, and it just keeps going, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So for every good, compassionate, loving thing you do, it goes out into the world. But just like the opposite too could happen. Anything negative you bring in,
that's right,
will reverberate too into the world.
That's right.
So you want to always be in the space of giving of your heart.
Yeah.
And loving.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
Or try anyway. It's not easy. We're humans, so we experience a multitude of emotions.
That's true. And sometimes some negative stuff can't help it.
Right.
But by and large, though, if you really are conscious about it, and you look at other people and you say, well, I mean, you have to just throw out love, and that's what comes back to you.
Absolutely.
So, tell me is there any other experiences that you want to share?
Yeah, I was, interestingly enough, a long time ago, before I even was introduced to working with the angels, I had a very bad car accident with my sister, and we were on I-95, and I had a friend in the back seat who did not have a seatbelt on. I was in the front with my sister, and she was driving, and we both had our seatbelts on. Well, it started to snow, the temperature dropped, we hit black ice, and the car started to swerve and swerve and swerve, and we knew we had no control over the car. We were just waiting to crash. We hit the side, we flipped the truck over.
Wow.
After we flipped the truck over, nobody blacked out or anything, but we realized that my friend wasn't in the back of the car anymore.
Oh, boy.
So she's outside, and we don't know this, she's outside alive, and we think she's dead. We're in the car, she thinks we're dead. And so I smell gas, and I said to my sister, are you all right? She only had a cut on her hand, and I bruised my ribs, and we ripped the seatbelts off, and we couldn't get out this way. We had to go back out the back door where it blew out. So what happened was we got outside, and we saw my friend outside, and she was with a cop. And I said, what happened? And she said, she felt her body lift up,
Uh-huh.
flew out of the car. She
And
was like
gently put
levitated,
down?
gently put down on the
Yeah.
floor, and she got a scratch on her nose.
Wow.
And I said to her, I said, there's no way, because that's just a miracle. As far as I'm concerned, we were doing 70 miles an hour. We were doing at least 50. She was just placed gently on the floor, and we came out with, you know, a little bit of a cut and a bruised rib. And the car was totaled.
Wow.
Absolutely totaled. We didn't hit one car, and when we got out of the car, it was so much traffic. We couldn't believe we didn't hit any. It was like all the cars got pushed out of the way and then came back together. So that was a huge miracle, and I know the angels.
I'm sure.
I
I'm
know
sure.
it. I
You
just
know,
know
I
it, yeah.
read a few books about stories like that where somebody said that they had fallen off a cliff or something, and they were very gently brought down to the ground. Whereas if it was just up to gravity, they would have been splattered all over the place.
Absolutely.
You know, so no, the angels are there, and I think that all you have to do, if when you're really in a pickle, you know, is think about them, and they're right there, because they know that just by thinking about them,
Right.
you're calling them.
That's it. That's absolutely. You call their name, or you just, you know, angels help me. It could be anything. It could any little bit of cry for help, and they immediately show up.
Yeah.
Because that's all they need is your permission.
Yeah, because that's what they do. That's their
That's
job.
their business.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what they do.
You know.
So.
What about bad angels, though?
I've not experienced a bad angel.
Well, that's good.
Because when I work, I go into meditation, and I'm asking all those that come from the light and from God only could enter this room. Anybody else, they're not welcome here.
Right.
So I have not experienced that yet.
Well, that's good.
So
Hope you don't. Hope you never do.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We've been having a really interesting conversation here. If there's anyone who has any kind of question, we have young Nicholas coming up. Okay, come on. Yeah. No, yeah, you just have to, the top there, squeeze it. Nope. There you go. Hi, Nicholas. How you doing, hon?
Good. How did it felt like when you were in that car accident, Rita?
It felt very surreal. It felt like I was in a dream. Of course, because of the adrenaline, I was shaking all over, yet there was a very deep calm because I felt that we were protected. And so it was an amazing experience, feeling that. Felt very loved and protected, and it was beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
I guess it was an experience that you were supposed to have.
Without a doubt, because we all had, two out of the three had a premonition not to go.
Really?
And we didn't listen. And so the lesson was listen.
Listen, I guess so. I guess
Listen,
so.
yeah.
You know, did you ever notice that sometimes you're driving your car and you're coming down the road, and not that you're going to speed or be in a big hurry, but some slowpoke just happens to pull out.
Oh my God!
And
yes.
gets in front of you, and they're going, and you're like, move.
Yeah.
You know, but that person may have been put there because down the road a piece, there might be somebody going through a red light or something.
Absolutely.
That would hit you, and that person was put there to slow you down so that you would miss that accident. You know?
Yeah, I think, what's that?
Does Nicholas have another question? Thank you, Nicholas. Okay,
Thank
you
you.
very much. If you have another question, you can come back. You do?
Yes, another question. I love this kid. Go ahead.
How do you avoid fallen angels?
How do you avoid them?
Yeah.
You just know that they're not a part of your experience, and you always ask Archangel Michael to protect you, okay? Because that's who is the protector of all of us, Archangel Michael.
And if you are afraid that there might be some around you, just tell them to get lost, and they will.
Yep.
Because
They have to listen to you.
They have to listen to you. If you don't want them there, they have to leave.
That's right.
Another question? One more? Go ahead.
How does it feel like when you first came across with an angel?
When I first came across, I felt very small because they're like 12 feet tall. And as it is, I'm only 5 feet. So, you know, but the biggest thing I think I experienced with experiencing them was the amount of love that came from them and the protection, because they immediately embraced me with the wings. That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
They immediately embraced me.
I've heard people who were receiving healing, Reiki healings, say that they felt angel wings come around them to protect them.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Thank you, Nicholas.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Nicholas. Would anybody else like to come up?
If anybody would.
Anybody else have a question?
No? Okay, not
We
so
got
far.
one? We got one.
Oh, okay.
Fantastic.
Yeah, talking to the microphone. Okay, this is Lou. Hi, Lou.
Hi,
Hi,
my name
Lou.
is Louis Antonelli, Rita,
Hi, Lou.
and I've had a loss, okay? And since this loss, sometimes I have a feeling that I need an angel to help me focus, because I lost interest in driving, which I always drove all over, and then I've had accidents, and I'm just like destroyed from it. It makes me feel why, but I don't question the Lord, because I'm extremely religious. I'm very strongly religious. But you know what? I don't know if that's a punishment, but I need the help of an angel to help me focus in the direction that I like to go.
I don't think it would be a punishment.
Never.
No.
Never a punishment.
No.
Never.
Lou and his wife, their son would be what, about 46, 47
About
now?
47.
47
I lost
now.
my son as a police officer.
Yeah, he was
Some-
killed, and it was, you know, totally unexpected, and they have been devastated ever since.
And how long ago was this, son?
Exactly 5 years.
5 years today?
May 12th.
May 12th. Yeah. Did he? You know, because I can feel him, and it was definitely his time. He's saying it was definitely his time to go, and the ultimate gift he's giving everyone around him is compassion. Because whenever someone loses a child, it's the ultimate loss.
The
and
worst.
From that,
The worst devastation.
from that comes compassion, and he wants to know that he's your angel, that he hugs you. Did he call you Pop or
Dad.
Dad? Okay. Did somebody call you Pop? Because I'm hearing Pop. Or did you
My
call
two grandchildren.
your two grandchildren?
His
kids.
His
Okay.
children.
His children. Okay. So he's saying, Pop, that's me holding you, and so he's your angel, and so he's right there protecting his children. He's with his children all the time.
That's what I pray for.
And he needs you to be there for them. So
I
he's
am.
asking you, please step up, because they're in that need, you know, for a male figure in their life.
Someone else told me that's our job. That's our job, that we have to help and be strong and complete. My wife and I.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah, and you are. You have the strength.
Yeah, but I want to get back to that wheel. I want to drive to the church. I want to be independent, Reed. I want to be able to do it. I don't know whether it's
Yeah.
not my eyes, because my eyes are
Yeah.
not great, but the